Hello there, and welcome to Statistics. I know you're excited to be here as I am. Just want a small welcome video just to kind of walk you around the course. Definitely first watch this, the welcome video. The biggest thing, and you know, when you take a class, books, prices, all that good stuff, in this class, everything is online. If you like a physical book, you can certainly get it that way. The only thing you have to be very careful of is when you buy a book, it has to come bundled with my math lab, I'm used to calling it that, or my stats lab. If it doesn't, then you're going to be out a lot more money. Okay, so typically, if you're okay with an ebook, the easiest thing to do is just click on this site and just go straight here and say you're a student and register as a student into our class. You're going to need this course ID. What that does is it puts you in my actual class. And as you're going to see, I'll show you here in a minute, that's where everything you do except the discussion board takes place. Next, go to the discussion board, introduce yourself, and then I will remind you about this hint section because you don't tend to come in here a lot in Blackboard. Again, probably 80% of your work you're probably doing in the lab. So I will remind you, but in here I actually have broken down hints that over the years students have asked me, how do you work this problem? How do you work this problem? Some of them are videos, some of them are little cheat sheets if you're going to use a calculator. I tend to use Excel because that's what is used in the real world. However, you're going to see, let me see if I can pick one here that'll have one. Last semester, a lot of students, I mean, look at all this stuff here. I don't even see one in here, but a lot of students got where they like what's called StatCrunch. And what StatCrunch is there we go, is it's kind of like Excel, but it's built into this stats lab. So you kind of need to pick in the beginning. I think you will see there are some things towards the end of the semester that unfortunately you have to use Excel. And I put that in here. Like this one, I only know how to do these in Excel. And these are things you probably don't want to do manually with a calculator. Most of the stuff you could do if you have a Texas Instrument calculator. But again, you know, just ask me. I have a TI-84, so if you need help with that. But most of my instructions are going to be Excel. All right. I do show how to do some things manually as well, because the one problem students have when they come in here is they're so used to have Excel doing all the work for them or StatCrunch, which is great. Then they take the test and they don't know what to do because they've just kind of followed the recipe steps, right? Take good notes, you know, write what you're actually doing when you're solving, so that way when you take the test, you'll be okay. The discussions, I'll remind you about these because these seem to get forgotten a lot. If you have any questions, come in here, ask me questions, introduce yourself. And then in week 1, you have your first, so the very first week, you have your first question. So the introduce yourself is not your first question. That's just, hey, everybody, let's introduce ourselves, say hi to each other. The week 1 discussion is you just come in and you answer the questions and say, what do you think statistics is? You know, it's ending football season, so that good stats there. And then don't forget to come back and respond to at least 2 other students to get the full credit. Okay, and it says all that in this paragraph. Another thing that's weird that kind of freaks students out is they'll say, Monday morning, I don't see the discussion anymore. It's gone after Sunday midnight. Okay, the whole idea of discussions, I know a lot of students don't like them and they wait till Sunday to do everything, or they do everything in one day. It's not really the way you should be doing it. You should, you know, come in, maybe post Monday or Tuesday your initial post, and then a couple of days throughout the week go in and respond. It's supposed to be like a study group, right, where you guys are meeting. You're just meeting online. All right, so that's discussions. What else? The weekly assignments. This is actually the same thing that you will see when you click on the course syllabus. So let's look at that really quick. Again, this is fully online, as you'll read in my introduction. I'm in Texas, so if you want to hold office hours and you want to drive to Texas, have at it, right? No, I mean, you'll find me online. You'll find me online a lot. I will mention that I do teach at a local university here. So there'll be some times that you might message me and I'll say, hey, give me an hour. But I tend to respond pretty quickly. I post some official office hours that I will be sitting here at the computer. However, you can message me anytime you want. You can either text message me, and that's my cell phone right here. You can either text me, you can call me, you can email me, you can message me through Blackboard, all that good stuff. All right, and so here's Blackboard. Here once again is the stats lab and the code that you have to use this code. So once you pay your money, you'll have like a student code, and then it'll ask for a course ID. The textbook, again, is within the lab. I'll show that here in a minute. Of course, you have to have a computer. Don't cheat. All know about that, right? Here's all the learning outcomes we'll go through, important dates. I tend to kind of, you guys have spring break and you should take spring break, but if you want to continue working through spring break, that's fine. I don't close. The only thing that actually closes, as I mentioned, were the discussions, but everything else, you have due dates. But let's say the first week you want to go ahead and start working on assignment 2, you can do that. So that's not a problem. Discussions are 15 points each. Again, a lot of students tend to miss these. And as you can see, that's a letter grade. So I'm going to bug you about those. And to me, they're easy points. I'm not asking you to do any math. You're just kind of discussing the topic. Your homework grades, these you can rework over and over and over until you get 100% by the due date. So keep after them. Ask me questions if there's one you can't get. Quizzes, and then test, and the final exam, and then your breakdown of your grades. So this explains here the discussion board and your initial post plus the 2 responses. There mentions our homework, our quizzes, our tests. Because this is an online course and you have a full week to work on assignments, I tend to not take assignments late. You will see every once in a while, though. I will tell you, like going back up here for spring break, I tend to open up assignments and say, well, if you want to bring something up or if you miss something. I understand things happen. They typically don't happen for an entire week. But just, let me know if something happens. I'm trying to keep you from not getting behind because, wow, look at all this material, right? And so this I would print out. That's why I put on a separate sheet in Blackboard. So you have it there right in front of you. You can see the first week. I mean, you got to get started right away. You got to get into the lab. You're going to have to do your reading. You're going to see 2 chapters here of reading. You're going to have a discussion where you're going to introduce yourself. Then you're going to have a discussion. Then you're going to have an assignment. And all that is due Sunday by midnight. All right. So when you go into the lab, so let me just log in here. La, 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 la. And once you pay and everything, you'll go through the same thing and you will see your course. So that's the course code right there that you're seeing in the syllabus. And in here, I would not skip around. I've seen students like, well, I don't understand chapter 1, so I'm going to go to chapter 2. Oh, no, no, no. This course builds, meaning if you didn't get chapter 1, you're not going to get chapter 2, 3, or 4. Contact me. Ask me for help, right? You're going to actually go, let me just go this way, to the assignments. And you will see all the assignments in here. Notice they say past due because I don't have the due date set yet. Don't worry, I'll get those due dates set. But when you go into all of these assignments, let me actually open one. As I mentioned, if you are new, what am I looking for? Assignment manager. If you are new to my math lab, please realize you can rework these problems over and over and over as long as you make that due date. If you work, you get, most of them you get 3 chances. Some, if they're multiple choice, you may not get 3 chances. And so if you miss something, so this says in a study, 2,820 professors at a college, 25% own a computer. I'm going to say this is a statistic. And so notice I got it wrong. They actually give you some information, and in this case, I get another chance. Let's try, say it's a parameter because this is the entire population of the college, and it's all good, and I get to go to the next question. If you get something wrong, let me find something that is not this multiple choice. Well, multiple choice. This may not have any. Here we go. So if you get something wrong, so let's say I go in here, relative frequency, I'm just kind of adding these up, and let's do 40. And I check my answer. And it says at least one of your answers is incorrect. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you what's incorrect. But here, relative frequency actually is 3 divided by the total. Well, let's say I don't know that, and I don't know, so I'm just going to change this to 45. And I check answer again. I don't know. And I final check. So I get it wrong. And so they give me the correct answer, but then I click similar question. What that does is it resets, notice these numbers, 3, 12, 14, 16, all that. It resets this and gives me a new set of problems that now I can actually work. And when I get it right, that old horrible red X becomes a green check. All right, say you're looking at this and you're like, I don't understand it. Over here, this question help you're gonna love. Most students like view an example. The help me solve this is nice, but it shows you how to solve this exact one. Watch these numbers here. When you get out of it, it changes your problem. And most students don't like that, but that's if you want to know that exact problem, how to solve. The view an example gives you one like this one. So notice here, the numbers are different, okay? But it's the same procedure. The only bad thing about this is kind of a crutch for most students that they use this constantly. If you are having to use this for every single problem, you probably need to rework the problem until you really get it. Otherwise, you might struggle on the test. Let's say none of that helps, and you can see in here they have some videos, they have textbook, and here's StatCrunch. Click the Ask My Instructor, and what that'll do is it'll send this exact problem to me. Wow. If you send me just an email and you say, Cindy, I don't understand how to work number 8, I won't get your exact problem. My numbers might be different. So I might send you something, well, if your numbers were this, but if you hit that Ask My Instructor, I get your exact problem. So that's really nice. All right, so and as you can see, all the assignments are in here, the quizzes are in here. One thing to note is when you do quizzes and tests, unfortunately, which a lot of students don't like, unfortunately, is some of the, notice the button's not there, right? But notice this is like the same question that we had. So a lot of times you're not going to see all those extra things given in here. Now, what you can do is you can open up another window, right? I have 4 monitors going here. I'd have another monitor open of the homework, and I could find that homework question and then go through and solve it. Because as you're going to see, let me open this edit. As you're going to see, when you get to the quizzes, you get 3 tries. So I would take good notes, okay? So that way if you miss something, you can go back and look at those. And the other thing you're going to see, they're not timed. And what you can actually do is if you open the quiz and you're like, oh, I'm not ready, it's going to feel weird, close the browser. And when you log back in, you can go back to wherever you were, okay? So that's what the students have the save for later option. You can leave and return later to complete a quiz. But again, you know, a lot of times students get this false sense that I can work at my own pace. Well, kind of, but you still have these due dates. So don't miss those due dates, okay? Don't miss the due dates. I believe that's everything. That's a little longer than I wanted to go. Read my announcements. I send announcements out all the time. Read my emails. I'll be bugging you to make sure I hear from you the first day of class. And let's have a great class.